अनम्यूट कर दीजिए, आप म्यूट हैं।
म्यूट। गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
जी
वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग।
हाँ जी, अखिलेश जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर। विल स्टार्ट दिस सेशन विद इन 1 मिनट।
ओके।
Okay, should I start, sir?
जी
Please sir, start your session.
Shall we begin?
Okay, sir. I'm just starting. Okay. Good morning, one and all present here. My name is Vinay Kumar Trivedi, Assistant Professor, AKS University, Department of CSE. Welcome you all in second day of International Conference TEETA-2022. I welcome Pro Chancellor Engineer Anand Kumar Soni sir and Head of Department AKS University Satna, Dr. Akhilesh Evaus. I welcome CSI team Dr. Santosh Kumar Vishwakarma sir, Mr. Jiten Kulkarni sir, Mr. Mahesh Janged sir, and Team Computer Science AKS University and dear participants. In today's technical session, we are proud to have Dr. Ashish Kumar, Dr. Rakesh Kumar, Dr. Ashish Kumar Gupta, Assistant Professor from Thapar University, Patiala, and Dr. Rakesh Kumar Katare, Professor and Head of Department, Computer Science, APS University, Riva, India. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Rakesh Kumar Katare sir, Professor and Head of Department, Computer Science, for a speech. First of all, I would like to read the small प्रोफाइल ऑफ डॉक्टर कटारे सर। सर आपकी प्रोफाइल इतनी बड़ी है, बट इसमें से मैं कुछ चीजें यहाँ पे रख रहा हूँ। सर नाउ Dr. Katare, Professor and Head, Department of Computer Science, he has completed his postdoctorate and doctoral studies at Devi Ahilya University from Indore, India. He has 27 years of professional and academic experience. He had shouldered many senior level administrative positions in universities in India. A few notable assignments includes Chairman Board of Studies, APS University, Riva. Member Board of Studies, Sri Hari Singh Gaur, Central University, Sagar. Member Expert, Visiting Committee, AICTE, New Delhi. Dr. Katare has done significant research work on parallel and distributed system, perfect difference number systems, and data mining techniques, and many more. He has published many research papers in various national and international journals like Scopus and Springer. Now, I request to Sir, please bless us with your valuable words. Sir, please bless us.
थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने मेरे बारे में कुछ कहा है ना। सबसे पहले मैं आनंद सोनी जी, उनके फादर जो चेयर समय चांसलर ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी, और अखिलेश जी को सबसे पहले धन्यवाद कहूँगा कि इस रीजन में ये आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस पे जो कॉन्फ्रेंस रखी है, ये यहाँ के टीचर्स, स्टूडेंट्स को सीखने का एक बहुत अच्छा मौका आपने प्रदान किया है, हमको अपनी बात रखने का मौका दिया है। और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो है वो मैथमेटिकल मॉडल ऑफ लॉजिक पे डिपेंड करता है। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में जो लॉजिकल वैल्यूज यूज की जाती हैं वो कंट्राडिक्शन से स्टार्ट होकर टॉटोलॉजी तक पहुंचती हैं। इसके बीच की सारी वैल्यूज यूज की जाती हैं। इसके साथ सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट ये है कि जो नंबर सिस्टम्स हम यूज करते हैं इनमें जो कंट्राडिक्शन से टॉटोलॉजी तक जाते हैं वो नंबर सिस्टम्स होते हैं। नंबर सिस्टम्स ऐसे होते हैं जिसमें एक्चुअली नंबर है तो नंबर का कॉम्प्लीमेंट मिलना चाहिए। यदि नंबर है और नंबर का कॉम्प्लीमेंट मिलेगा तभी वो नंबर सिस्टम बनेगा। और जब एक बार नंबर सिस्टम बन जाएगा तो सबसे पहला एग्जाम्पल आपको बूलियन अलजेब्रा में मिलता है जो बूलियन लॉजिक है। और सबसे बड़ी विशेषता बूलियन अलजेब्रा की ये है कि जितनी भी उसकी अजम्पशंस हैं वो सब टॉटोलॉजी की ओर बढ़ती हैं। जैसे एडम्पोटेंट लॉ है या कोई भी लॉ है, लॉ देखें और ये सारी वैल्यूज जब मैथमेटिकली प्रूव होती हैं तब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की बात स्टार्ट होती है। इसके पहले आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की बात हम नहीं कर पाते हैं क्योंकि हमारा ब्रेन कैसे फंक्शन करता है ये हमारी एक्टिविटी से ही मालूम पड़ेगा। हम एक्चुअली नंबर सिस्टम्स बना लेते हैं और कितना हमने काम किया है उससे हमारा कंस्ट्रक्ट ऑफ ब्रेन मालूम पड़ता है और उसी से आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं अब पहले शुरू किए गए हैं। इसके पहले हम चूंकि ब्रेन का कंस्ट्रक्ट समझते नहीं थे तो हम आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के जो प्रोजेक्ट्स थे उन पे बहुत काम नहीं कर पाए थे। अब कुछ शुरू हुआ है और न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स पे और इस पे काम शुरू हुआ है और ये सारे के सारे बेस्ड हैं लॉजिक पे। सबसे पहले हमें अपना मैथमेटिकल लॉजिक अच्छा क्लियर करना चाहिए क्योंकि ऐसा है कि किताबों में बहुत सारी बातें नहीं लिखी हुई हैं जो आपको प्रूव करनी होती है। मैथमेटिकल लॉजिक जो है वो आपका अकेला आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में नहीं लगता है, वो आपका हर आर्किटेक्चर पे लगता है। आपने मैथमेटिकल लॉजिक का यूज करके अर्थमेटिक लॉजिक यूनिट बनाई है। अर्थमेटिक ऑपरेशंस आप लॉजिकल ऑपरेशंस करके आप कर रहे हैं। ये सबसे बड़ा अचीवमेंट था हमारे साइंटिस्ट का कि उन्होंने एंड और नॉट, नेंड, नॉर, एक्सक्लूसिव और का उपयोग करके हमने अर्थमेटिक ऑपरेशंस को डेवलप किया है। दिस इज वन ऑफ द ग्रेटेस्ट इन्वेंशन दैट आवर साइंटिस्ट हैज अचीव्ड इन लास्ट 70 years। इसके साथ में आप एक्चुअली यू आर वर्किंग ऑन स्विचिंग सर्किट्स। वो मैथमेटिकल लॉजिक यहाँ पे स्विचिंग सर्किट से स्टार्ट होता है और डे टू डे लाइफ में जो आप लैंग्वेज यूज करते हो उस लैंग्वेज से निकला हुआ मैथमेटिकल मॉडल है। और ये मैथमेटिकल मॉडल इस तरह से वर्क करता है कि आप जो दिन भर में डिसीजंस लेते हैं इन डिसीजंस को यदि शाम को आप बैठ करके इनके ट्रुथ टेबल बनाएंगे आप पूरा का पूरा दिन की कंडीशंस को रखते हैं, आप दूसरों से बात करते हैं, ज्वाइन करते हैं लोगों को और ये सब चीजें जो है इट इज नथिंग बट द मॉडल विच वी आर यूजिंग इज मैथमेटिकल लॉजिक मॉडल। तो सबसे पहले अजम्पशंस होती हैं। हमारी बेसिक अजम्पशन जो है वो स्विचिंग की रही है, उसी से हमने नंबर सिस्टम्स बनाए हैं। तो फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस की यदि आप बात करेंगे तो फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस में सबसे पहले अजम्पशंस होती हैं। जब अजम्पशंस होती हैं तो उस अजम्पशन बेस्ड थ्योरी बनती है और जब वो थ्योरी बनती है तो थ्योरी के जो रिजल्ट्स होते हैं जिसको हम सिमुलेट करते हैं, थ्योरी के जो रिजल्ट्स होते हैं वो रिजल्ट्स बताते हैं कि हमारी अजम्पशन करेक्ट थी कि नहीं थी। यदि करेक्ट है तब वो थ्योरी वर्क करती है, नहीं तो वर्क नहीं करती है। डायनरी नंबर सिस्टम सबसे पहले हम अब सीखते हैं प्राइमरी में। डायनरी मींस डेसिमल नंबर सिस्टम। तो डायनरी नंबर सिस्टम में हमने सिंबल बनाए हैं सिंबल 0 से 9 तक के सिंबल हैं। अब 0 से 9 तक के सिंबल में आप देखिए कि हर नंबर का एक कॉम्प्लीमेंट उपस्थित है। 0 का 9 है, 1 का 8 है। तो जिस सिस्टम में कॉम्प्लीमेंट नहीं है वो नंबर सिस्टम नहीं हो सकता। दैट विल नॉट बी ए कंप्लीट नंबर सिस्टम। या तो बाइनरी में होगा तो बाइनरी कंप्लीट सेट कहेंगे हम। तो 2 बिट का होता है, 2 टू द पावर में 2 बिट का है, 3 बिट का है, ऑक्टल नंबर सिस्टम में 4 बिट का हेक्साडेसिमल नंबर सिस्टम बनाया। हेक्साडेसिमल नंबर सिस्टम में भी आप देखेंगे कि एक नंबर है तो उसका कॉम्प्लीमेंट है, और वो आधे आधे कट जाते हैं। 8 नंबर हो जाते हैं, उसके कॉम्प्लीमेंट आ जाते हैं। और 8 जो होते हैं, 8 लॉजिकल वैल्यूज होती हैं, और आधी 8 जो लॉजिकल वैल्यूज होती है वो नेगेशन पार्ट होता है ना। तो नेगेशन पार्ट आ जाता है। तो ड्युअलिटी है यहाँ पे। नंबर सिस्टम में ड्युअलिटी मिलेगी आपको कि एक नंबर है तो कॉम्प्लीमेंट मिलेगा। तो दैट ड्युअलिटी का जो सिद्धांत फिजिक्स वाला है, वो ड्युअलिटी का सिद्धांत मैथमेटिक्स में भी लागू होता है। आपको ये सिद्ध करना होता है। इसीलिए जब ड्युअलिटी का सिद्धांत आपका नंबर सिस्टम में लागू होता है तो उससे बहुत सारी प्रॉपर्टीज जनरेट हो जाती हैं। और वो प्रॉपर्टीज हम क्या करते हैं, डिस्क्रीट स्ट्रक्चर्स में यूज करते हैं। जैसे आपका ग्रुप है, इंटीग्रल डोमेन है, उनमें ये प्रॉपर्टीज आ जाती हैं बिकॉज ऑफ द ड्युअलिटी ऑफ नंबर सिस्टम्स। ये एक नई बात कही है मैंने, आपको किसी किताब में नहीं मिलेगी ये। आप इस पे विचार करिए, बताइए, है ना। और ऑपरेशंस हमारे पास मैथमेटिकल अर्थमेटिक ऑपरेशंस के साथ साथ लॉजिकल ऑपरेशंस है। हमको ये जानना चाहिए कि लॉजिकल ऑपरेशन से अर्थमेटिक ऑपरेशंस कैसे करते हैं। बाइनरी एडर इज वन ऑफ द एग्जांपल। ऐसे सब्सट्रैक्टर होता है, ऐसे डिवाइडर होता है, और वो अर्थमेटिक लॉजिक यूनिट में हम यूज करते हैं। और भी बहुत सारे ऑपरेशंस होते हैं। फिर इसके बाद कंसेप्ट आ जाता फंक्शंस का, है ना। तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में आप इन्हीं चीजों का उपयोग करके और न्यूरल नेटवर्क का बिहेवियर आप करके और न्यूरॉन्स का स्टडी करके आप सर्किट डेवलप करते हैं। वो सर्किट वर्क करता है। और सर्किट हमारे ब्रेन में, हमारी इसमें एक सॉफ्टवेयर है जो गॉड के द्वारा दिया, ईश्वर प्रदत्त सॉफ्टवेयर है। और उससे हम अपना डेली टू डेली वर्क करते हैं। हमारा ओपन सिस्टम है। हम रोज एनर्जी लेते हैं और एनर्जी को यूज कर लेते हैं। तो दैट ऐसा सिस्टम जिसमें एनर्जी रोज ली जाए और छोड़ी जाए, वो ओपन सिस्टम है। अदरवाइज सारे क्लोज सिस्टम्स होते हैं। तो लिविंग स्टेट फिजिक्स एक और एग्जांपल है। तो लिविंग स्टेट फिजिक्स में 2 प्रकार के सिस्टम्स होते हैं। एक लिविंग सिस्टम्स है जिसमें एनर्जी डेली लेते हैं और छोड़ते हैं, तो लिविंग स्टेट है, एंट्रोपी आ जाती है। फिर बहुत सारे कंसेप्ट आते हैं। और जैसे आप सब कहते हैं भगवान एक है, ऐसी साइंस भी एक है। साइंस इज गॉड, साइंस इज रिलीजन, है ना। तो मेरे ख्याल से मेरा 5 मिनट हो गया होगा। और मेरी सभी को शुभकामनाएं हैं कि आप अपने मन से और बड़ी ईमानदारी से अपने पेपर्स को लिखिए, पढ़िए, और एक्सपेरिमेंटल बेस पे उनको आप पब्लिकेशन पे डालिए। और निश्चित रूप से जो गाइडेंस की जरूरत होगी हम लोग उपस्थित हैं, जरूर गाइड करेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Thank you very much, sir, for your blessings. सर, आपके सिस्टम नंबर सिस्टम पे के जो आपने बताया, निश्चित रूप से स्टूडेंट्स और सभी रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स के लिए आगे का रास्ता प्रदर्शित होगा उससे। थैंक यू सर। नाउ I would like to invite Dr. Ashish Kumar Gupta sir. He is currently associated with Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. He published several research papers in peer-reviewed international journals such as IEEE, Transactions on Multimedia, the Visual Computer and Multimedia Tools and Applications. His research interests include image processing, salient object detection, attention mechanism and deep learning. Sir, I request you, please bless us with your valuable words. Sir, Ashish sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
I am Dr. Ashish Kumar Gupta from Thapar University, Patiala. It was a great chance to join with you all. Namaskar, sir. Akhilesh, sir. Namaskar. Namaskar, Santosh, sir. So it was very nice. Namaskar, sir. It was very nice listening to Dr. Rakesh, sir, and he has given in brief an excellent overview of the entire field. As I can see, it is already 11:16, so we should allow participants to come forward and present their paper. My good wishes are always there with the organizers of the committee and definitely with the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time for participants to present their paper. Every participant would have minimum 5 minutes and maximum 7 minutes for presentation. So please take care of the time. Ashish sir and Dr. Katare sir, आप judges हैं और please make a sheet for the results.
जी
और जी
Sure,
students,
sure.
participants, please be ready. मैं नेम अनाउंस करूंगा आप लोगों के और आप लोग रेडी रहिए. विद इन अ मिनट आप लोग प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए रेडी हो जाइए. मैं नाम अनाउंस कर रहा हूं पहले पार्टिसिपेंट का. तो फर्स्ट पार्टिसिपेंट इज श्वेता मारुलकर एंड पावन नारायण. प्लीज बी रेडी विथ योर प्रेजेंटेशन.
थोड़ा आवाज क्या तेज नहीं हो सकती है?
विनय सर माइक्रोफोन पास में कर लीजिए अपना.
ओके सर. श्वेता मारुलकर and Bhavna Narayan.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You
Okay,
have
so-
minimum 5 minutes and maximum 7 minutes. Please take care of the time.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. And next participant, Yash Vishwakarma and Akhilesh Evav, with Akhilesh Evav, sir. Please be ready.
Good morning, respected chairperson. Myself, Shweta Marulkar, and my paper ID is 60, and my paper title is Assessment of Nail Images for Primary Disease Detection and Classification based on CNN, the new horizon in disease detection in humans. So this is my flow of presentation. So let us begin with introduction. So image processing, digital image processing has a wide scope in globes such as military, medical, robotics, forensic science, like that. So nowadays, for such type of application, feature extraction of digital image is important part of processing. So pattern recognition requires the classification of medical imagery, classification which improves the efficiency and accuracy. So for the classification process, image processing, segmentation, feature extractions, so these steps are carried out for the image processing. Preliminary disease detection rate depends on all the steps, but classification has its own importance in pattern recognition. So a convolutional neural network model for primary disease detection, or you can say identification and categorization in humans, is presented in my research paper. So I consider data set all about 750 image for primary building of model, and 750 images of nail with 4 symptoms of diseases. We built a CNN model to automate the feature extraction and categorization. Color information is frequently employed in earlier stage disease detection, or you can say prediction. So the filters are applied in 3 channels based on RGB components in our model. So experiment have said that the proposed approach accurately predicts the diseases. So let us begin with introductory section. Disease detection by human body is done by capturing digital images, is one of the advanced and popular technology we considered in medical image processing. So generally diseases are detected by techniques such as pathological testing, or you can say MRI, CT scan, or ultrasound, or PET, like that. But these techniques are quite painful, and we can consider it as a costly in such a rural areas. So the farthest end of nails are considered as the farthest end of body, and since they are farthest from heart, so receive the oxygen last. Due to this, they are often the first to show the signs of diseases. So color, texture, shape of nails, and pliability of nails can be used to identify some of the diseases. So here we can consider color analysis is mostly useful for highly preferred in disease diagnosis. So an image is identified as an array of matrix. So digital image processing has many application by image processing, face recognition, military application, iris recognition. So the process of analyzing digital image constitutes the steps like image acquisition, in which we capture the image processing, in which image data is improved or enhanced, some features of images are enhanced for further processing, and enhancement, restoration, compression
Excuse
are
me, ma'am.
methods of. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can we move to model directly?
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. So these are some techniques, objectives, and literature review. So this is all about the
You may
research.
cover the objective and literature review portion. Yeah.
Okay,
In
sir.
short, please.
So objective of my paper is to develop modified model for diagnosis purpose based on deep learning, and the another objective is to develop sorry, sir, here is repetition. The second objective is to develop application, real type application, which is helpful in rural area, which can easily predict the diseases which are present in the rural area region. So is my another objective. In literature review, image, just we can take an images by pre-processing segmentation diseases. So here segmentation carried out by considering all these concepts like thresholding, clustering, histogram methods, and for feature extraction, GLCM or histogram feature extraction, canny edge detection are some basic algorithms which we are considered. Feature selection, in which these are some generalized feature selection technique. Classification purpose, we are consider SVM model, KNN model, neural network model, fuzzy classification, like that. And according to classification, which model is best for our disease detection can be considered for the further processing. So from this, I have built up my own algorithm.
What
So
is
in
your
this,
findings?
findings means basically I have developed I have in preliminary stage I have considered all the built-in models for
What is the use of matrix in your office, this work?
matrix is generally used for, sir, segmentation purpose, in which images are segmented, and I consider only a defect infected area, and for this I have
What is the symmetry of the matrix? Are they butterfly matrix?
in image
Are they butterfly matrix? There may be some symmetry of the matrix.
yes, sir.
How will you recognize the patterns?
Patterns are recognized, or in the initial stage I have segmented all the matrix, and by feature extraction I have extracted the features which I have
How
extract
you
the
have extracted? How you have extracted?
segmentation techniques in image processing. Segmentation algorithms are there. By considering these segmentation algorithm,
नहीं आपको बेसिक वर्क आपने क्या किया वो बताइए.
हाँ, मैंने सर पहले
एक्चुअली देखो मैं आपको एक बात बताऊं.
Yes,
you are using some used models, you are using some used method.
Yes,
what
sir.
is your work?
हाँ, अभी जो हमने जो डेटा कलेक्ट किया है उसमें से हमने 90% ट्रेनिंग के लिए यूज किया और 10% टेस्टिंग के लिए यूज किया. तो उसमें हमने जो हमारे डेटा के ऊपर जो मॉडल बिल्टअप किया है उसके ऊपर से हमने जो एफिशिएंसी है, मॉडल की एफिशिएंसी है, उसके ऊपर वर्क किया है. तो अभी हमने ये एनालाइज कंक्लूजन किया है कि उसके कॉम्बिनेशन से हम एक मॉडल बिल्ड करेंगे जो आउटपुट बेटर दे सकता है. So the standard CNN model have large number of features, we can say more expensive to compute. So we replace normal convolutional with the level of detailed convolution in our research, which minimizes the number of variables and computation time. The model that were put into place had been trained using an available data set, includes four category illness classes.
आपने
The
कौन सा मॉडल
performance
यूज किया है? Which model has been used for this work? Can you please
uh,
name the model? Which CNN model has been used?
Inception V3, Inception RaceNet V2, MobileNet V2, and EfficientNet V0 are the predefined model I have tested on my data set, and according to that, I have in future work I want to build
Why
a
only
new
these
model.
models? Why only these models have been used?
Literature.
Because there are many models that are existing.
Yes, sir.
Like VGG model is there, ResNet model is there, and we
Yes,
have
sir.
got very other variants of DNN. So why exactly these? What characteristics of these models made you choose them?
यस सर. अभी जो मेरा रिसर्च वर्क है वो अभी शुरू हुआ है, तो मैं वन बाय वन जो मॉडल्स है वो स्टडी करके उनका मेरे डेटा सेट के ऊपर अप्लाई करके देख रही हूँ, और उसके हिसाब से जो कंपैरेटिव रिजल्ट जनरेट हो रहा है उससे मैं मेरा फ्यूचर वर्क में जो मेरा फाइनल मॉडल है वो डेवलप करने वाली हूँ. तो अभी बेसिकली जो मैंने पेपर्स रेफर किए हैं,
आप
तो
अपना मॉडल खुद बनाइए, और जो मैट्रिक्स यूज कर रहे हैं उसमें जो
हाँ सर.
वेक्टर्स हैं,
हाँ सर.
उन वेक्टर्स पे ऑपरेशन करिए, लॉजिकल ऑपरेशंस, और
ओके सर.
लॉजिकल ऑपरेशंस करके,
हाँ
लॉजिकल
सर.
ऑपरेशंस मतलब एक वेक्टर और दो वेक्टर के बीच में लॉजिकल ऑपरेशन करिए,
हाँ सर.
और लॉजिकल ऑपरेशन करने के बाद में पैटर्न की प्रॉपर्टी निकालिए,
हाँ सर.
और पैटर्न की प्रॉपर्टी से रिकॉग्नाइज करिए पैटर्न. ये नया मॉडल है, मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. मेरे पेपर में बटरफ्लाई मॉडल
ओके सर.
पे पेपर्स हैं, बटरफ्लाई मॉडल्स पे, उनको आप डाउनलोड करके उनको पढ़िए और उसको अप्लाई करिए.
ओके सर. थैंक यू सर. श्योर सर.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
थैंक यू सर.
Okay, the next participant is Yash Vishwakarma. Please, Yash.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sir, my paper was on, and actually, wait, I need to share my screen first.
Just share your PPT.
Yes, yes. Is it visible? Hello.
No.
Okay, just a sec, sir. Is it visible now, sir?
No, still not visible.
Okay. Is it visible now, sir?
Yes, now it is
Yes.
visible.
Thanks, sir. All right. Good morning to all of you. My paper was on an efficient weed. The name of my paper is an efficient weed growth estimator. So in this paper, what I've done is I've used a efficient net V0 model, and using it, I have classified basically images of leaves of weeds into nine distinct classes. So I'll go through the contents real quick here. So I'll go on. I'll give an introduction of the paper, then I'll talk about the objectives, and then I'll talk about the dataset description, the methodology I used, and results, and further discussion, and then I'll go on conclude.
Oh yes, make a full screen. Yes, full
Yes,
screen
sir.
पे डाल दीजिए. Full screen में डालिए अपनी PPT.
Yes, sir.
PPT को full करो. PPT must be visible. Okay, now good.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sorry. So basically, the introduction goes as follows. As we know that farmers in all of the countries, basically India, in farmers in India, they don't want to like use pesticides.
आप अपने
because
काम
they're-
पे जाइए. You
Yes, sir.
directly go to your work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There is only 5 minutes to just tell us the work. What
Yes,
work
sir.
you have done?
Yes, sir. So, sir, basically, what I did is I used a data set which was used in a paper by the researchers in Denmark. They basically collected the data set in Denmark in various light situations. And the data set had 9 distinct classes, each based on the number of count of leaves. So, and what I did is I used efficient net B0 neural network to classify these images into 9 distinct classes. Within I achieved a validation accuracy of 74%. Here's the results. 74% validation accuracy was received if I removed one of the classes.
Validation on what parameters?
Sir, actually, sir, the images used were of weed leaves. Yeah. So in each of the classes, each of the classes were named after the number of leaves. So class number 1 had 1 leaf. Class number 0 had 0 leaves, and so
What
on.
is the criteria of classification?
So classification was basically done on the basis of number of leaves, sir. So like if the weed plant had 4 leaves, it would be classified into the 4th class. So that's it, sir. And I used the efficient net B0 model for this, as this had the best accuracy of all the CNN models which I used. And the model was trained for 70 epochs, and it was I used a custom function to early stop the training. Also, the parameters of the learning rate were being changed randomly, as if the model stopped converging, the function would randomly change the convergence, and then the process would speed up.
आपने जो validation ये किया है,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ये what method you have applied for validation?
Sir, basically what I did is I separated the data set randomly into 2 parts. One had 90% of training set, 90% of the images of the for the training set, and 10% of the images were used for the validation set. So the model had never seen the 10% of these images which were used for validation. So after the training was complete,
Vishwakarma ji?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The general criteria is 70-30. 70 for testing and 30 for validation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why have you chosen this 10-90?
Sir, on the papers I read, they use this kind of metric, sir. So
what is the
that's why
size of your data set?
Sir, it has like 10,000 images, which were further increased using a data augmentation technique, sir, like random flipping.
Have you done transfer learning on this particular job? For this job, have you done transfer learning?
So I didn't get you.
So which type of learning have you done? Have you performed transfer learning?
Yes, sir. It is transfer learning, sir.
So which basic models have you used for that? Pre-trained models. Which pre-trained models have you used?
I tried, sir, ResNet, Inception, VGG16, and sir, I used efficient.
Please show us the comparative results of all those models.
So I didn't show the results on this paper actually. It's with me.
Because when you are saying we have done comparative analysis, you should be able to give a hint of how those results are, or what are their trends. And why actually we haven't shown those things over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And any specific component that you might have introduced in your model to capture the growth in a specific?
Uh,
Because those
Actually,
models are very general in nature.
yes,
Those
sir.
models are general in nature. So
True.
if you're solving a specific problem,
Mhm.
then for that problem, you need to introduce your own architecture to capture the importance or the important, I should say, uh, areas of your problem.
Yes,
So
sir.
have you introduced anything special in those models?
Um, actually, I didn't introduce anything special, sir. Because
So there is no novelty in your work as such. Okay, you are
uh,
just trying out several models and you
yes,
are
sir.
trying to see how those models behave in your situation.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
those models are not actually designed for this situation.
Yes, sir. The weights were pre-trained on image net, and they
Yeah,
were.
exactly.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So their objective is for classification of different objects.
Yes, sir.
Whereas you are interested in performing classification of the same thing in different, I should say, circumstances.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So the problem is a bit different. So you
yes,
need
sir.
to consider novel ways or novel architectures for
Yes,
this.
sir.
You will have to introduce novel structures in your model
Yes,
so
sir.
as to capture the things that are specific to this problem.
Yes, sir.
So this is a very simple study that you have done.
Can you show the structural relationship of images?
Structural relation of images.
How you have stored the images? What structural relationship you have used?
So actually, there's a data set available which I downloaded from the. It's publicly available to use. So basically, the images are like this in that. Like some images are blurred, and some, as you can see on this slide, that the leaves have different. They have different. The plants have different numbers of leaves.
इसमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का क्या उपयोग है
So
या
basically,
कंप्यूटर साइंस का क्या उपयोग आप कर रहे हो वैलिडेशन एक समझ में आ
yes,
रहा
sir.
है चलिए
Yes, yes,
बट एक्चुअली बेसिक जो कंप्यूटर साइंस की
yes, sir.
मेथड्स हैं वेयर यू आर यूजिंग दैट मेथड्स
Sir, so the thing is, this isn't like this research is part of a problem, sir. So if an engineer or mechanical engineer uses this model,
सिंपली
and
यू
yes,
आर जस्ट showing
yes,
us
sir.
the classification methods only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is you are showing classification methods, but I
Yes,
don't
sir.
think that you are using any computer science method for analyzing the data set.
So the data set was pre-sorted actually, and
But I have not shown, you have not shown any computer science method except validation. Validation is one of,
yes, sir.
no other method you are using.
Actually, you have not enlisted any CNN methods that you have applied.
No, sir, I did list it, sir. I used a efficient net B0 on the data set. That is how I obtained these results. Um, in this,
Can you show
this
this, what you are doing in this, just
uh,
before this?
just before, yes, sir.
What is this?
So this is a confusion matrix, sir. On the diagonal, the model, every single image which goes through it.
How you are using this matrix in your project?
So this is a confusion matrix. So this basically tells us how the predictions are performed on the model. So the diagonal element shows the 0.83. That basically means 83%. So the images which were in class 0 had 83% accuracy of being classified into the correct class, and the 0.17, that's 17%. They were not classified as class 0 but as class
What
1.
is on row and what is on column?
So basically, sir, column on the column, sir, the predicted labels are shown. So like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the predicted labels, while the true label is on the rows. The true labels are shown. So this basically tells us if the model is classifying the
What
the
number
images.
shows in this table?
Sir, if we take the zero row and zero column element, 0 element, the number 0.83, that's basically 83%. So this means that the image which was of class 0 was classified correctly 83% times, and it was classified as 17% of the time as class 1, which is wrong, but we can see that it's very close to class 0. So this is what actually confusion matrix shows us, that how much confusion the model has of classifying the images
Are
correctly
you
into a
using this
particular
table in
class.
validation also?
Sir, basically, sir, this is for validation accuracy, sir. This is for validation accuracy. The training accuracy was actually 99%, and the model overfitted because two of the classes.
Hello?
Because two of the classes.
Can you
yes,
show the symmetry of this matrix? Is there any mathematical method you have used to show the symmetry of the matrix?
No, sir. I cannot show that, sir.
What diagonal shows? Diagonal shows
the
the reflexive pattern.
Yeah, no, actually, sir, the thing is the diagonal is the correct prediction, sir.
Diagonal is reflexive actually. You always remember.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If we are using the method of binary relations, then you
Yes,
will
sir.
find that the diagonal shows the reflexive operation, reflexive property.
Yes, sir.
Same way you can find out the symmetric, antisymmetric, reflexive, transitive property.
Yes, sir.
And on the basis of these properties, you can show your results. So you can
Yes.
use these properties. Then only you can find some results.
Yes.
So your method is not correct.
No, sir. Actually, the method is correct, sir.
Your method is correct, but it is
Yes.
not fully show the results. So please extend the method like this that I am telling you to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I put a table like this, sir, in the paper, sir, which showing accuracy metrics of every single class. Sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Yash.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Next participant is
Yeah, Mr.
Rishabh
Vinay.
Jan and Abhishek. Yes, sir.
So if others are also having some questions, then they may also ask.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Yeah, please. 2 minutes time is still there. It's
Okay.
7:43. So if some other person may like to ask some questions, then they may also proceed.
Okay, sir. If any participants or any faculty member want to ask something, please ask the questions. Okay. I am just calling next participant.
Before starting next candidate,
My request is very simple. Request is please tell the participants to show their work only. What they did actually in computer science, they show the work only because we have only 5 minutes.
Okay, sir.
even I would like to inform our participants that your chairs, your judges are judging you on the basis of your presentation, your novelty work, relevance to the theme of conference, and question answer. In this way, total 40 marks are evaluated in this parameter. Sheets are with our judges. So please be stick on this pointer. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, so I am calling the next participant, Abhishek, Param, and Rishabh Jan. Please present your paper. Abhishek.
Good morning, the chair and the panel. I am Rishabh from NSIT New Delhi. I'll be presenting the paper. Please let me know if the presentation is visible.
Still not visible, Rishabh? Yes, it is visible now.
Okay. So I'll be proceeding with the presentation. So good morning, all of you. I'm honored to be here in a part of the TEEETAS-2022 conference. My paper ID is 64, and I'm explaining the paper on the topic anthropometrical virtual try-on, a survey on virtual try-ons and human body dimension estimation. So this is basically a survey paper that I have done to focus on a problem that exists and has not been looked upon. So the contents of the presentation will be as follows. First, I will start with the introduction, then explain the basic terms and the basic gist of what virtual try-on and human body dimension estimation is. Next, moving on towards the application, and then finally I will cover the major points in the literature review, and will let you know the future work plan that I plan to do ahead of this. First of all, the introduction, moving towards the introduction, virtual clothing try-on can be thought of to be made of two distinct parts, like estimation of human body dimension and 3D modeling of the human body. The present day techniques enable us to perform both of these tasks individually in an accurate and resource-efficient manner, but there is no system that combines these particular two techniques and yields proper results. So my research is aimed at performing a thorough literature review of both these areas and proposing a task to combine them and come up with a much more comprehensive virtual try-on system. The applications for this, there are a lot of real-world applications and also advantages exist for this technique. So like e-commerce, which has traditionally suffered from a high order return rate, can benefit a great deal from this technique as an effective cost-saving measure. Another application lies in brick and mortar stores. Real estate cost is expensive and it's not possible to display all the apparels that a customer could want. Simple cast can help in this by employing virtual try-on of all the apparels in the inventory, saving time and space. The third application, which is also perhaps to be the most widely used, is the clothing size recommendation. Each company and brand has slight variations in sizes. This technique would let them recommend the right sizes for the customer, letting them know their fits and sizes. And moving on towards the literature review, basically I have divided my literature review in two parts, one for the anthropometrical part and one for the virtual try-on part. Anthropometry is the study of the human body dimension estimation, and a lot of works have been done in both of these areas, both 2D techniques and 3D techniques each. So let me move on towards them and let's see them. First of all, I'd like to talk about the market trends in the industry, in the fashion industry actually. So as you can see in the following graph, the market trend took a dip after 2019 in towards 2020 due to the pandemic, but it later on recovered back to 1.5 trillion in 2021, and it is expected to go towards around 2 trillion by 2026. So there's a great increase in the industry, and we can see that.
Please go to your work. Please go to your work.
Okay, sir. And so moving on towards our works, first research area was the anthropometry, which is the measurement of the human individuals, the girths, the measurements of our human body in a 3D manner. So anthropometry is used by designer, architects, and engineers, everyone, to process something in a 3D environment. So traditional anthropometric measures used in our real world is like the tape measure that tailors use to measure our body measurements. So those curvatures can to be measured through a computer environment is something difficult and which has been discussed here. So let's moving on towards the 2D techniques of anthropometry. There have been multiple 2D techniques proposed for anthropometry. The Hung et al. Have suggested that different body parts can be approximated as different shapes like ellipse, circle, or some arc of a curve based on body shapes. The dimension of the human body are obtained using a front and side view of the image, and the girths and dimension of body are calculated using these images, combining with it with the shape approximation technique. Similarly, Ria Sehgal and her team have devised an anthropometric technique much more focused on female body parts. They take 2D images of the front and the side at a distance where the camera is set at a set height, and then edge detection and feature points were used to calculate the measurements. Moving on towards the 3D techniques of anthropometry, basically not much work has been done, but some kinetic-based technology that uses infrared technology have been used to scan the 3D body. But using Kinect has a major disadvantage that the reconstructed models are of very poor quality, as Kinect is a very low-cost model. But if proper high-cost models are used, then we can get a proper reconstructed 3D model. But since it is expensive, it cannot be employed. everywhere. And moving towards the second part, I'll be talking about the virtual try-on. Virtual try-on is something that lets you see how the clothes will fit on you, or how the clothes will look on you actually, because the fit has not been counted till now. Yeah, it only shows how it will look on you, but not how it will fit on you. So moving on towards virtual try-on, some 2D techniques that have been used are KAGAN, VITON, and CP-VITON. KAGAN stands for Conditional Analogy Generative Adversarial Network, and it was suggested by Jechev and Bergman. They presented the idea of fashion swapping, that is swapping clothes of a person in an image with some other clothes. In this, a generative model was trained whose main outcome was to generate fashion swapped images, which can fool the discriminator, which relies on 2 points. That is, the generated image looks indistinguishable from input domain, and the clothes look well printed on the person. A custom loss function was used, which had a few terms added over the classical GN loss function. Owing to the fact that discriminator should be able to distinguish the model does not appear wearing the same clothing as in the dataset. And VITON was the virtual try-on network, one of the most famous techniques in the virtual try-on phase. It uses a coarse to fine synthesis approach. An encoder decoder is used to generate a coarse image in which only shape of the clothes are fitted. The deformations required and characteristics of the clothes are nearly completely lost. The encoder decoder used is general type of unit architecture, which skip connections to directly share information between layers through bypassing connections. For the final result, fine synthesis is applied using a composition mask prepared by using the TPS model to introduce appropriate deformation and restore cloth characteristics. But since some characters were lost, later on CP-VITON was introduced. It is based on VITON, and it stands for Characteristic Preserving Virtual Try-on Network. So as it is based on VITON, it also uses a geometric matching model to better the results of the TPS by learning TPS transformation parameters. This helps the geometric matching module to extract features from both the source images, make a correlation layer to combine the two features, a regression layer to predict the transformation parameter, and TPS to use the parameters from the regression layer to warp images on output, thus providing.
What are your findings?
So actually, can I discuss the 3 techniques? Then I will move on towards that, because that will be the conclusion of my presentation, sir. Okay, so the 3 techniques, there are basically 2 techniques that I have researched. That one is BRAVE, and the other is the single shot body estimation. And BRAVE stands for dressing in person, physics-based simulation clothing, and it is a 2D mesh of clothes, and multiple feature points were made, and multiple motion sensors were used in the training data to see how different poses of a human body generate different deformations. And using those data, a physics-based simulation model was prepared to use in animations. And in single shot body estimations, a database with multiple models was prepared wearing different clothing. To obtain the output from an image input, the body shape and size of the person is estimated, and a best match is from a database, and the clothes are swapped according to the model obtained from database, and deformations are applied within it. Now, moving on towards my future plan, what I wanted is to design a system using a monocular lens setup to estimate the dimensions of the human body. That is, getting a 3D dimensions of the body using a 2D camera setup. So the dimensions will include the neck, arm, waist, and chest. That are the basic dimensions used in the e-commerce websites to check for the sizes. And next would be the extraction of the apparel by segmentation. That is the part of the virtual try-on method. So various apparels from the e-commerce stores should be accurately mapped using segmentation, and they will be structured using the dimensions and will be scaled accordingly to fit the human body. And my findings was finally moving on towards the conclusion. I would like to say that my findings would be like both of these areas have been researched independently, with some works have been done much more in the virtual try-on space rather than the human body design estimation state. But none of the works have been done to combine both of these. So the utility to combine both of them can be to show the fit of the clothes with how it will look on you. Like we can see how the clothes will look on you in a virtual environment, but we wouldn't know how it would fit us. How the perfect size of the cloth would exactly look with the size of my body. So what I want to do is I want to combine the human body dimension estimation and the virtual trial space, so that the fashion industry can progress. So thank you, Chair. This was my presentation.
This is your review work.
Yes, sir. This was my survey work, and it was a
This is
survey.
your review work,
Yeah.
and you have not shown your findings in this.
So actually, I have done a research based on the survey, because what I wanted to do is, first I wanted to perform a comprehensive survey to what exists in one space and what exists in the other space. Then moving towards my future plan is to make a model or
How will
propose a
you
model.
make a model in future for this?
So that's what I'm saying. Like some works have been done in the anthropometrical space, and some work has been done in the virtual trial space. I will be combining both of them.
I don't find any research work in this, because it is nothing but you are analyzing the data in this, and you are using software for measurements only.
No, sir.
So I don't feel that you will find anything. And what artificial intelligence methods you are going to use in this?
Sir, as stated earlier, Kagan was a technique and Biton was a technique that are completely based on
This
artificial neural
this
networks.
technique is always present in the environment. What is your technique?
So that is just for a virtual try-on. That is not for the fit of the clothes, how it will look on the body. So what I will be doing is I will be combining those techniques from the human body dimension stage and the Kagan stage to
It is
make
a
a pattern.
difficult work.
Yes, sir.
It
It is
is
a
a
difficult work.
difficult work because we are using computer graphics for this. So it is
Exactly,
a
sir.
difficult work, and this difficult work requires programming and development of algorithms.
Yes,
Then
sir.
only you can do a new
Yes,
work.
sir. So
Otherwise,
since
it is a review work again.
yeah, so that is
That
what I'm saying.
you will
That it
not
is a
find
difficult.
any
It is a
research
very
work.
difficult. Yeah, it is a very difficult space. So I needed to perform this survey. Otherwise, without this survey, I would have been stuck if I had directly started work on this space. So first of
My
all,
suggestion is that you leave this and do something in computer science,
so actually, I wanted this to my basis for my
because
MPhil.
you did nothing actually in this. You did nothing. You just compare things, and you have to do research in computer science. So please leave this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek. Okay, so I am calling next participant, Akanksha Ahuja. Be ready with your presentation. And
Yes,
after
sir.
Akanksha, Sonali Mohite and Bhavna Narayan is the next. Be ready, Sonali. Akanksha, get ready.
Sir, can I start?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Akansha Ahuja, studying at Vivekanand Education Society's Institute of Technology from Mumbai. My topic is exploratory data analysis of COVID vaccine safety data. So these are the contents of our slide. Starting with the introduction, ADRs refer to the term adverse drug reaction. As of now, out of all the ADR cases in India, India has reported 6.7% of the cases as serious ADRs, whereas 0.37% are fatal ADRs. In a pandemic situation, the government and the pharmaceutical companies need to keep a trade-off between the drug safety trial and the lives lost every day because of the virus. Hence, there is a chance of expediting the trial process. In such cases, post-market pharmacovigilance becomes of utmost importance. There requires a constant need for monitoring of the symptoms and for the patients who has received the vaccine. Our goal was to analyze such data and to increase the speed of post-market
How will you
pharmacovigilance.
distinguish? Excuse me.
Yes,
How
sir.
will you distinguish exploration with extraction?
Sir, extraction is the first phase. Where first we'll be extracting the data. We have performed that too also from a particular source, reliable source. I'll show the source to you, sir. And after that, we have performed the analysis, which will come under exploration.
How will you extract?
Just a minute, sir. So this is our research methodology. Here, sir, the data set has many attributes which were of no use of our analysis. Such attributes were omitted and the data was filtered first. For our analysis, the text data was cleaned by stopword removal, removing new line characters and special symbols. The data set used was VAERS, that is the official US government data set. It was available in CSV files. And after that, the text that was available in that was stemmed and POS tagged. Then topic modeling was performed to check what abstract topics are present in our data for further analysis. After that, we performed semantic and linguistic analysis in our data. NER was used to extract medical terms from the data, and a semi-automatic labeling algorithm was used to label our data that was created by us. This label data was given to a classification algorithm to treat the algorithm on this data and to classify the data into minor, major, or deadly. So the last part, that is from the classification onwards, that is not a part of this research paper. This is the research methodology only for exploratory data analysis, but this is our overall diagram. And we have performed the semi-automatic labeling algorithm.
This data set you are showing,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me the object of the data set?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Just a minute. So, sir, we have performed exploratory data analysis, and this data is VAERS data, which stands for Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. VAERS is an open source data set provided by the US government. The entries in the data set are done by medical institutions and patients who have taken the vaccine shot. To extract ADR related entities, we used NER. After the extraction, our goal is to classify ADRs based on our severity. And so this data consisted of 8 lakh rows. And after cleaning that, we have dropped down to 3 lakh rows, in which we have removed a lot of redundant data that was present.
Extraction, cleaning, and these methods, how you have used, which model you have used?
So for extraction and cleaning, there was no particular model. That is a part of the procedure
How
that
you
we
did
have
that?
continued.
You did that.
Sir, I have the collab notebooks. Would you like to see that?
How you did this?
I have the code, sir. Would you like to see that?
हाँ, दिखाइए.
Sure, sir. So this is our very first notebook. So here we have extracted the data. We have collected the data from the website. This is the structure of our data. It has a lot many attributes. These are the attributes. After this, sir, we have started with the cleaning of the data, where we are merging two of the databases because the databases were not continuous. Some of the data was discontinued.
So it means that you have directly used Python tools for this purpose. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir is interested in knowing what are the various or specific methods that you have used.
So should I show the final result graphs that we have obtained and the semi-automatic algorithm that we created?
You please go back to your slides.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go back to that methodology page.
Yes, sir.
Slide. Yeah. One more slide back. Yeah. So what are your contributions in this entire methodology?
So the pre-processing module is performed with existing algorithms, but the semi-automatic algorithm we have created on our own.
Where is that? Because it's not clearly visible on our screens. What particular block highlights it? Please let me know that.
So
Where is
actually it is.
semi-automatic algorithm? Can I see where is that semi-automatic algorithm exists in that particular methodology only? Yeah, in this diagram, where it
So
lies.
this research paper is specific to the extraction module. So we haven't included in this particular diagram. But as you asked our novel contribution, I mentioned the semi-automatic algorithm. I do not have it
So
in
it is all
this slide,
about,
but
sir
yes,
has
sir.
already communicated that we are going to evaluate you on the basis of the novelty of your work. So this is actually a research methodology. All these blocks are already existing.
Yes, sir. These are the
We would like
existing
to,
blocks which we have implemented.
we would like to know what are your specific contributions to this work.
So
So if
the
you have
results and
used,
the discussions that we have drawn from the data that doesn't exist. This is a new data on COVID, and these haven't been performed previously. I could have mentioned that in the lacuna and the literature survey, but I just skipped to this because of the time limit. These are new findings, and these have not been mentioned earlier. These are the findings that we have performed. I would like to explain it further.
please
And
explain, yeah,
after,
please explain your results here. What you would like
yes, sir.
to, what you have inferred from these diagrams.
Yes, sir. So, sir, VARS data set that we have used, it had 8 lakh plus rows, but during the process of cleaning, we removed all the entries which had discrepancies, and the final tally of the data set is approximately 3 lakh 50,000 rows. The VARS ID is a unique ID that is used to distinguish individual entries. The goal of our topic modeling is to find abstract topics in our
So
live
this
data
ID,
set.
so this ID was not unique for those 8 lakhs rows.
Yes, it was unique, sir, but there were discrepancies in the data. Some of the rows were blank, some were empty, some were not related to ADR. So that is the reason we had excluded those rows. The
Proceed.
goal, yes, sir. The goal of our topic modeling is to find the abstract topics in our data set. For extraction of medical terms, we have used the SciSPC library, which has an accuracy of 84.49%. Further, the results and discussions. These are the results of our exploratory data analysis. Figure 2 represents the different types of vaccines present in our data set. As we can see, 92.57% of the entries are of COVID-19 vaccine. As we can see, the hospitalization rate is 5%. In figure 4, we can see the daily ADR counts. We can see a sharp increase in the data for August and September as the age group of 15 and above was allowed for vaccination. Also, more and more people started to get vaccination as there was an increase in COVID cases due to the Delta variant. The death percentage, as we can see in the figure 5, is 1%. We can see that Moderna had the maximum numbers of ADRs reported as shown in the figure 6. Little to us
How you
depends.
have analyzed these graphs? Have you wrote any algorithm for analyzing these graphs?
Yes, sir. The data after extraction, we have written the code, the collab notebook that I was showing that contained this code with the results. Because the data is
What
new, there
AI
is no
technique you have
existing code for
used
this.
in this analyzing the graph?
So this is exploratory data analysis. So it did not contain any AI technique other than named entity recognition that is a part of machine learning. And after that, for semi-automatic algorithm, which is not a part of this paper, we have implemented something that was our future work. Shall I continue, sir?
So this type
See,
of analysis is already present there with other data sets
No, sir.
pertaining to
This
the field.
exactly this is not present because this is typically provided for vaccines, which what we have performed.
So my
Other
question
things
is
are
that you have,
yes,
the point is that you have taken a specific data set
yes, sir.
and then you are showing that you have performed these analyses on that particular data set.
Yes, sir.
So my simple question is that there are other data sets also for COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
So for those data sets, are these, so this analysis is already existing for those data sets. Is
So
that, is that true?
there are only two data sets available according to the topic we have chosen. I agree to your point that other COVID-19 data sets are available, but they do not give us information about adverse drug reactions, which is actually the topic. We are trying to extract adverse drug reaction for easy pharmacovigilance, and there are only two data sets present. One is the US government data set, and other is the Indian government data set, which is not yet completed. It is just in the
So have
initializing
you
stage.
written, as far as ADR count is concerned, have you written any code or algorithm for this counting purpose by your own, or
Yes,
are you
sir.
using some already well-known algorithm?
No, sir. We had to write the code because this is a new data set. So we had to write the code on
If
our
you
own
have
for the
written,
analysis.
it's not about code, it's about writing the algorithm. So have you
So
written
the
this algorithm? And if you have done it, and if it is some novel work, have you published it? And if it is so, then please show us the publication.
So we have submitted our paper in this conference itself.
Okay. So what is the name of that?
Actually, you are not going to show your work actually in this. You are showing others' work.
No, sir, this is a new data set. There is no existing work on this data set.
No, but the algorithms which you are using is already exist.
Sir, for exploratory data analysis, there are no particular algorithms. The analysis has to be done on the basis of attributes. So we followed that. And after that, we have performed semi-automatic algorithm, which is not present here, but I have the algorithm to show it to you. That is something we have created, but after the submission of this paper.
Are you a student of any institution?
Yes, sir.
Where you are a student?
Vivekanand Education Society's Institute of Technology.
Okay, so as far as you are a student, it is good. But as a researcher, it is not good that you are not showing any original work.
Apologies, sir, but I really want to include this point that there is no work performed on this data set, and we were inspired because of the ongoing pandemic to perform
What is
something
new
like
in
this.
this data set?
So there is no work performed on this data set previously. This is the adverse drug reaction data set
Pandemic is new.
specifically.
Pandemic is new.
Yes, sir.
So data is new.
So for the previous pandemics also, because the pandemics were years ago, there is no such work performed, and
Okay,
we
okay.
aim to
Thank you,
perform.
thank you, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any question from the participants? Okay, thank you, Akanksha. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
now it's time to call Sonali Mohite and Bhavna Narayan for the presentation. Sonali Mohite and Bhavna Narayan, are you there? Hello? Sonali? Or Bhavna? Any one of you? Sonali and Bhavna? Okay, I'm just calling the next participant. Namoor Rahman or
Yes. Yes,
are you
I'm
there?
here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm there.
Please present your paper.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Today, I'm going to present our research work based on identifying signature of the suicidality, a machine learning approach. And first of all, I'm going to discuss about the contents of this presentation. First of all, we are going to discuss the introduction, then the objectives, then the literature review, then the research methodology, and after the result and discussion, then the final conclusion. Suicide is a major issue in today's world. Nowadays, people are sharing their thoughts on various social media. So it could be easy to judge by their text on or the status available on the social medias. And if we can apply machine learnings on this text, and we can see that the results. So in this work, we have showed them that how machine learning works and how can we apply machine learning on the text. So first, in the literature review, we have found some research paper which works on the various similar types of data, and for Vigil et al. They suggested some algorithms, and similarly other researchers also provided some comprehensive review such as lithium. And Young and presented and conducted a detailed review of 6 different machine learning algorithms, and Banketer et al. Conducted some other assessments too. Okay, in our methodology, I'm going to first of all I'm going to show our methodology picture. Yes. First of all, we have collected the dataset from some open source resources. We have found dataset. We have found the dataset from Reddit survey, and the Reddit is social media, and the dataset contains the opinions of some people. So if they are feeling depressed or they're going to feel suicide, and afterwards, so how many people suicide actually then after after following this result actually. After collecting the data set, we have pre-processed the data set. Some of the data set has some null values, so we have cleaned the data set and applied some machine learning feature engineering. We have got 12 features from the, we have extracted 12 features. Then the final data set comes out after the data sets. Finding the data set, then we have divided the data set into burst training set.
Ramanji, sorry to disturb you, but the format of your data set is not clear to me.
Okay.
Can you please show us a snapshot of that?
Currently, I don't have that in my PC. I'm not to show that right now, but it is available in Kaggle. Sorry for that. The format was the containing about 15 different questions. It was a survey actually. It contains 15 different questions. Then after reading the questions, and the final results is, are they going to suicide or not? That's actually the data set was. Okay. Can I
Okay,
continue?
proceed. Yeah, please continue.
After testing and data sets, then we have applied 4 different methods, such as random forest, XGBoost, SVM, and light GBM to test the data set. And finally, the predictive output was found. After when we got the results, we have found this results in our results, and we have found that XGBoost performs the best, which giving the accuracy of 89%. Other than whatever the light GBM providing the accuracy of 86% and 84% for SVM, and random forest with 85%. And this is the graph we are showing that with different methods with different.
How you have calculated these values?
Actually, this value is calculated using the is a Python code. Actually, we have applied to different one validation data. We have the model we have generated, and then the generated data was compared with the validation.
What data structure you have used?
Data structure we have used that. This is not clear to me. Please, can you elaborate? I can understand.
What data structure you have used?
Data structure is we have used that. I can't remember that one thing. That is validation. Let's see, what's it called? Sorry, I'm sorry. Can't remember right now.
Have you used metrics?
Yes, confusion. Yes, we have used confusion metrics.
Can you show methodology slide?
Okay. We have.
Sorry to interrupt. Sonali, ready? Be ready after this presentation.
Here is our methodology.
You have shown this random forest.
Yes. Yes.
What does it means? Random forest XGBoost. What does it means?
It's a classifier method actually. I think. It's a classification method.
What is the difference between SVM light GBM and what is random forest XG? Both are same?
There's some difference in SVM. SVM works on support vectors.
One is balanced binary tree and second is graph. What is the difference?
Binary tree means it works on.
You are showing balanced binary tree above and you are showing graph below, and middle you are showing matrix type of thing.
Yes.
What these three shows?
These things are, you mean these things, right? This first, in the first we can see the XGBoost, which is a tree.
How you have used these graphs, the techniques in your Python code?
We have used the data set and used the existing code. We have used the pre-existing code for XGBoost algorithms.
Your data set is based on these three things, based on these graphs.
Yes.
Your data set shows these graphs. Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, how you have used this as data structure?
Oh, we have sorry.
Is this your work?
Yes.
Is this your work?
Our team's work, yes, we have.
You have developed the program?
Actually, we have used the pre-existing code, and we have also applied some feature extraction. That's it. That's it.
Your voice is not clear to me.
Okay. We have applied some feature extraction and used the pre-existing or pre-trained models of XGBoost algorithms and other things. Like then we have applied the algorithms to our data set. Then we found the results.
Means you have used some others' work and just input your data and find out the output.
Yes.
This is your work.
Yes.
Okay. What new in this?
The feature extraction and engineering is our works. We have we have found that some of
How you have extracted the feature?
some feature extraction methods we have used
No. Actually, no. All feature extraction is in the code.
Okay. The feature
Which you
extraction
have not
is
developed.
okay. Feature extracted means here some of the data in our data set, some of column rows aren't that much influencing the data set. So we have removed that, or automated remove by the code.
Definitely. If you change the data set, the algorithm will evaluate the data set in its own way. When you have not developed the algorithm, then how will you understood
Actually,
the extraction?
we have extracted the results, compared the results others with other method other works. Then we found the results is getting the.
Please go to conclusion.
Okay. Here we have present the ROC curve for our dataset, our work actually. So in a conclusion, we are going to say that dataset we have used is so much low, about 470 data. So we are aiming to increase more data and add more data to get more results, and we're hoping to build on some solutions in web that can be good for the results actually.
Rahman, please go back to your results slide. So which method is doing better?
Here XGBoost performs the better because in case of accuracy. Another
Why
parameter
so?
also.
Why so? What do you think is the reason behind the same?
I think it's
Why this random forest is doing better as compared to SVM? You already know that they are not. You should know that they are not data structures. You should know that, and you have actually not responded to that question properly.
oh, sorry.
They are your classifiers. So you should have given proper difference between the two. And instead you choose to say yes to the questions.
Okay.
So I would like to know what is this random forest and why this is doing better and why I have not used this is XGBoost actually. Why this XGBoost is doing better than the other methods. What is
The
the how it works? What is this XGBoost method altogether?
XGBoost, I think the method is doing better because of the layers. They're in between the output and I mean the dense layers or the extra in between the layers actually. Which making the difference between random forest and XGBoost.
Okay, thank you so much.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our next participant is Sonali Mohite. Are you there,
Yes.
Sonali? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ready with your presentation.
Sir, my presentation is visible.
Still
Hello?
not visible. Still not visible.
Okay.
Try again.
Is it
Now-
visible?
Now it is visible. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, go on.
Okay. A very good afternoon to all. Firstly, I introduce myself. My name is Sonali Moite. I am from Satna district, and my paper ID is 53. My research topic name is bite mark evidence in forensic dentistry for human identification using deep learning technique. Uh, in this presentation, we cover all these topics. This is a flow of my research work. Introduction. Uh, Normally, the human teeth arrangement is a unique feature which makes an individual identification easier. Every human being has a different set of teeth which has unique arrangement pattern. No similarities can be seen between two individuals. And human bite marks are commonly found in child abuse cases and rape homicide cases in many assaults. Objective of my work. The intention of this study is to develop a modified model based on deep learning, which will compare the suspected dental condition and bite marks present on assault scheme and give confirmation of its identity in criminal cases. Second is create a model using faster region with convolutional neural network feature to detect and count number of teeth in dental periapical X-rays, uh, and real-time implementation of application for preliminary human identification using bite marks. Right side my diagram is actually the bite mark analysis guideline given by ABFO, American Board of Forensic Odontology, and carefully use of these helps in enhancing the quality of the investigation and conclusion. Literature review. This paper gives me a noteworthy contribution for my research work. Uh, the first is the K. Bhargava proposed a current method of data collection which says photography is the most important evidence from the bite mark victim. D.K. Saza also proposed a biometric system for forensic human identification based dental X-ray. They made a database.
Sonali ji,
Yes.
please go back to your previous slide.
Previous. Okay.
Your previous slide, yeah. Because you are interested in developing a modified model.
Yes.
So please discuss the work that you have modified, only that work. And then please quickly go back to your original work. Okay? So the work you have modified and your work. Please cover both these things only.
Okay. A description of my work, sir.
Yeah,
Please
fine.
tell
It's
me
good.
before that, what is learning and what is deep learning?
Uh, Deep learning supports AI, artificial intelligence. Actually, deep learning is a completely branch of machine learning, which is completely based on artificial neural networks. As a neural network is going to mimic the known brain, so deep
What is
learning.
learning and what is deep learning? Just defined.
Uh, Deep learning is based on artificial neural networks and also kind of a mimic of human brain.
नहीं.
Can you define learning? Question is very simple. Can you define learning?
Learning means to learn any topic.
What is
How do you,
investigation and what is learning?
Uh, Investigation means proper topic पे investigate करना.
Is investigation is learning?
Yeah, similar. Yes.
What is deepness in learning?
To find out the result.
What is deepness? Why you are saying deep learning? In learning, if you are saying something in learning, then what method we are using in learning?
Actually, the deep learning also kind of mimic of human brain. Artificial intelligence is the
You are
way.
not defining actually, you are going somewhere else.
Uh, no, sir. The
Okay,
way
continue,
complex can be made.
continue.
Okay, the first of all, the collection of data set. In this first step is the fundamental step of digital image processing, is image acquisition. Firstly, we are given suspected teeth impression using dental cast and victim bite marks images. Pre-processing of
You are
data.
saying collection of data set.
Yes.
What is collection and what is set?
Collection means a data, collector data.
Set is also the perception of your mind, and you are actually collecting parameters. So why you are saying collection of data set?
Uh, data collection, yes, similar to data collections.
What is data set and what is the collection?
Data set is the information.
Set is the right word.
And collection is
It is a
to
mathematical word. Data
gather
set is the correct word. Collection is not the correct word. Collection is not used in science. Set is used in science.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Shall I continue, sir?
Okay. Secondly, you are saying the pre-processing of data. What is processing and what is pre-processing?
Sir, firstly processing is done, then pre-processing. Sorry. In pre-processing, image enhancement, image restoration, and color image processing.
Pre-processing
In
is
this
what?
data
How it is different from processing? Okay, continue.
Okay. The image enhancement is the simplest and most appealing areas of digital image processing, mostly use changing brightness and contrast, etc. The second is image restoration. Image restoration technique based on mathematical models. The third is the color image processing. This may include color modeling. Develop modified algorithm, phase 2.
Restoration is what?
Restoration.
Restoration. What data structure you will use in restoration?
Brightness, contrast change.
Please write down everything which I am asking you and find out the meaning of that. And because it is very important that before presenting anything, you must know each and every meaning of each word.
Oh,
Each
okay, sir.
word.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
है ना?
Yes, sir.
And actually, you are dealing with computer science.
Yes,
So
sir.
what you are saying, it should definitely done in your computer. So what you are saying, you have to do that in computer. Restoration of data means you are using memory, you are using computer for restoration. Then what
Yes.
method you will use and how the data structure will be used?
Actually, I am working in RCNN algorithm.
एक्चुअली यही एक सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत है कि आप लोग किताब से हटते ही नहीं हो, किताब से हट के ओरिजिनल थॉट नहीं करते हो, चीजें करते नहीं हो, आप किताबों में फंसे रहते हो, बस वो CNN और मेरे को यही दिखाई दे रहा है, आप लोग का ओरिजिनल थॉट है ही नहीं कहीं. अनफॉर्चुनेटली देयर इज नो ओरिजिनल थॉट ऑफ एनी रिसर्च वर्क. आप लोग किताबों में क्यों फंसे रहते हो, उससे बाहर क्यों नहीं निकलते हो?
Yes, sir.
Sonali, which type of data are you using?
What, sir? Which types of?
Which type of data are you using?
Sir, actually, I'm working in a ready-made data set.
And that data set contains what?
Uh, teeth impression and bite marks images.
So it contains, you are working with image data set.
Yes, image data
What
set.
is restoration in images? Do you know that?
What, sir?
What is restoration? Because you are calling data restoration. It
Yes,
is
yes.
image restoration. Do you
Yes,
know
sir.
what is it?
Uh, Actually, the in output and result analysis, build a model that can identify a tooth structure official index. This is a classification
आपका
task.
contribution क्या है? Please get back to previous slide and tell us your contribution quickly. पिछली स्लाइड में जाइए प्लीज.
Okay.
आपका क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है ये बताइए.
सर अभी तो मैं डेटा कलेक्ट कर रही हूँ और मैंने गूगल कोलैब पे प्रोग्राम किया था.
ये जो आपने लिखा है मॉडिफाइड मॉडल डेवलपमेंट, इससे हम क्या समझें?
We using some technique like feature extraction and compression techniques here. And in use modified model and object recognition use for
Can you
finding
please
accuracy of
can
result.
you please tell us what is novel in your work?
Novel. No, sir. I'm not
Thank you so
understand.
much. ठीक है सोनाली, थैंक यू.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonali.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now it's turn to Daksha Jain, Vardhan Yadav. Are you there, Daksha?
Yes, sir, Vardhan.
Okay, Vardhan, please.
So my screen is visible?
Yes, your screen is.
Yes, sir. So, sir, good afternoon, respected panel and fellow presenters. My name is Vardhan Yadav. I'm a final year BTech student from W Professional University, and I welcome you to my presentation about cardiovascular disease predictor. So, this is the roadmap of the paper. And first, I will give you a brief introduction about my paper. Then I will explain about the objectives which I had in my mind when I first started my paper. Then I will brief you about some of the paper I reviewed about my research work. Later, I will discuss about the methodology which will be followed by the results which I obtained by applying these methods. And finally, I will conclude the paper and conclude about my entire research paper. Now, coming to the introduction part. As we all know that heart disease takes a lot of lives every year, and it is basically a condition in which narrowing or blocking of blood vessels in our body occurs, which leads to various conditions such as chest pain, stroke, and heart attack. And there are different types of heart disease such as coronary heart disease, arrhythmia, heart valve disease, heart failure, etc. And sometimes it is also called cardiovascular disease. Now, there is a lack of proper medical equipment in rural, remote areas, and for that purpose, we want to create something new, and we use machine learning to predict whether a person is suffering from heart disease or not. We also propose a web application to provide graphical user interface to the user to remove any hassle and to get the prediction at any time they want, and it is will be also cost free. And our predictions are fast and reliable to get an initial idea on the condition of the patient. Our main objective was to create a graphical user interface like experience for the user to help them get the prediction on the heart's condition. A secondary objective was to increase the overall accuracy of the prediction over the previous works which have already been done. Our third objective was to build a fast system so that the users can get the prediction without much waiting time. Our fourth objective was to create a system which does not have any language barriers so that the user so that everyone can use our system, and that regardless of where they live and whichever language they speak. And our fifth objective was to provide the details of the doctor who specializes in heart disease to the patients so that they do not have to search about that where And so it just basically removes the hassle of finding doctors from different sites. Then we have reviewed 10 to 12 paper, and we will, in the presentation we will be just presenting 6 paper. So our first paper which we reviewed from was Abu Razdan, who has written a paper which helps us in predicting the status of person's heart disease. In this paper, he have used various data mining techniques like random forest, logistic regression, decision tree, and naive Bayes. After comparing the results from all the different models, they come to the conclusion that random forest performs best with the accuracy of 90.16%. Second paper which we reviewed was from P.NB and in her paper she compared various
What
supervised
is data mining and what is data processing? How will you distinguish data processing with data mining?
Yes, sir. Data mining is basically extracting and discovering large data sets. And sir, processing is
You are not
basically,
using data processing techniques in data extraction.
yes, sir, we were just using 5 different models and comparing them, and whichever models is performing the best accuracy, and we will just give the output on that basis to our users, sir.
Can you tell me the operations on data processing?
Yes, sir. Data collection, data input, data processing, and the last one is, I guess, output, sir.
It's searching, मैचिंग मर्जिंग ये सब नहीं है, मॉडिफिकेशन
Yes,
ये
sir.
सब
Maybe,
डेटा
sir.
प्रोसेसिंग का पार्ट नहीं है.
I guess it is. I forgot.
और डेटा माइनिंग क्या है, उसके ऑपरेशंस बताओ.
The prediction, descriptive, time series analysis, sir. Predictive analysis.
प्रेडिक्शन में कौन से ऑपरेशंस हो सकते हैं?
Sir, I can't remember at this moment, sir, but I will look into it after.
तो फिर आपने ये रिसर्च वर्क कैसे करी? जब प्रेडिक्शन नहीं मालूम है तो हाउ यू आर डूइंग दिस रिसर्च वर्क?
So we just took 5 different models, we compare them, and we have researched like different previous models what we have already
What
done.
is the problem actually? The problem is that the research work doesn't showing originality of the research. All of you are what you are doing, you are using the techniques from books, techniques from papers, but your original thought and originality of the paper is not there in your work. We required originality, new work. That is your problem. Please continue.
Okay, sir. Now we come to methodology part. So we used 5 different models for our project, and the models we used were Gaussian NV, risk classifier, KNN, decision tree, and random forest. The dataset which we used was from Cleveland hard data set, and which was taken from UCI repository. It has 14 attributes in it. 13 attributes was basically for to get the prediction, and one last attribute was the result part. So we firstly pre-process the data to clean and feed it to the models for prediction. We then visualize the data to get a better idea on the data for better prediction. After that, we split the data into training and testing part. And after that, we feed the data to get an initial prediction. And then we apply the hyperparameter tuning. Basically, we apply the hyperparameter tuning to increase our model accuracy. And then we feed again the data and we get the final prediction. And the performance metrics we use in this was ROC AUC curve. This is the pictorial representation of our methodology. Then we come to result and discussion part. So the risk classifier gives an initial accuracy of 84.5%. K-Never classifier gives a score of 87.3%. Gaussian NV gives a score of 81%. Decision tree gives a score of 81%. And random forest classifier gave a score of 83.5%. This prediction was done before hyperparameter tuning. This is the chart for it. After performing hyperparameter tuning, our model saw a good increase in the AUC ROC score. Risk classifier gave an accuracy of 90.8%. K-Never classifier gave an increased accuracy of 93.2%. Gaussian NV given accuracy of 90.6, Bayesian tree classifier give the increased score of 84.5, and finally random forest gave a score of 92.7. And the highest accuracy we got is from K-never classifier, which was significantly improved by when we applied hyperparameter tuning in it, which we reviewed in our research. When we done literature review, we have searched various paper and they haven't used hyperparameter tuning in it. And in this paper, we applied hyperparameter tuning, and which gave a considerable increase in the accuracy for the prediction. And now coming to the conclusion, as we all know that rising mortality rate of patients with heart disease has increased the need for a studying solution. Keeping this problem in mind, a system is urgently needed to help reduce this mortality rate. The motivation for this study was to find the most efficient ML model for the correct prediction of whether the person is suffering from the cardiovascular disease or not, and to improve the prediction rate from the already existing models and researches. A total of 5 machine learning models, namely KNN, risk classifier, decision tree, random forest, Gaussian NV, were used. Dataset, Cleveland dataset, and which has 14 attributes in it. Initially, we got the best accuracy on KNN, which was about 87.3%. After performing hyperparameter, we still got the accuracy, but it jumped 93.2% from the initial. So it was a thorough increase of 4.9%. This process is both time efficient and cost efficient, and there are many more ML models that can be used for further increasing the accuracy for this data set in the future. This accuracy we achieved can further be improved with the help of feature engine and analyzing the data further, which will help us in saving more lives. And these are the references which we have taken, sir. That's also.
So out of the 14 attributes, which attributes are the most important ones?
So probably resting ECG, cholesterol of a person.
Probably means what? If you are saying that your classifier is providing you a specific classifier is giving you some result, then what are the attributes that it has chosen? I would like to know that. And what is going to be the result if you simply remove those attributes from the test set? Have you done that analysis?
Sir, yeah, but this part was done by like one of my friend, and like he is not here, but he
You
has
are
the like.
working at, yeah, Vardhan, you are actually working as a group. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when you work as a group, you need to first of all plan what exactly are you going to do. Your classifier is right now working on some specific attributes. To
Yes, sir.
see how robustly it is considering all those attributes, it is important to remove them one by one and to see what is the response of your classifier in order to go for a rigorous analysis of your work. Just considering four number of classifiers, providing them some input and not even looking at what exactly are they producing, on what factors. So the
Yes, sir,
analysis in itself is complete. It is
yes,
not
sir,
complete. Okay.
yes, sir, that's an interesting thought, and sir, I will keep that in mind in my future work, sir. In this work also, sir.
So any other questions?
Any questions from the audience? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, next participant is Mr. Lokian Gaur from AKS University.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
My PPT is properly visible, sir? Now it is okay, sir.
Still not visible. Yes, sir. Now it is. Yes.
Very good afternoon, all the team.
I cannot hear anything. Vinayji.
Yes, sir. I'm just sitting. Logan, sir, your mic is, I think, not properly connected. Connected. Logan, sir?
Okay, now I'm audible, sir.
Yes, yes. Now you are.
Okay, very good afternoon to all of you. My topic of paper is fault-tolerant framework with federated learning for reliable and robust distributed system. My co-author is Dr. Akhilesh Bhau. He is a HOD of Department of Computer Science, AKS University, Satna. My paper ID is 30 and myself presenting this paper. So some of the points which I have taken from my abstract. Data-intensive computing system like distributed systems suffers a potential problem of data storage. My research work is basically using the distributed system, and distributed system suffers a major problem for data-intensive tasks. These kinds of tasks, or what you call a problem, generally arises for data storage basically. Another problem that distributed system suffers, that is a load balancing and privacy of confidential data. So fault tolerant must be deployed for smooth functioning of distributed computing. So here we are using a federated learning. Actually, federated learning is nothing but a distributed learning that we deploy for multiple edge devices. Edge devices like sensors or IoT, etc. So FL deployed with distributed deep learning could identify, recognize, and resolve the fault at large scale. Again, federated learning is a multidimensional deep learning system that captures training data across various distributed and decentralized edge devices. Basically, federated learning, under the federated learning, we use multimodal deep learning system. That is basically a kind of machine learning systems or machine learning algorithm, or what you call a model. Introductory part is that fault-tolerant framework is the most important part of distributed system for preventing the failures. In general sense, distributed systems many kind of problem, but fault-tolerant is a basic problem. So there is a possibility of various faults occur. So our system would be tolerating such kind of faults in some manner. So federated learning is a distributed and decentralized approach. The federated learning approach is well suited for distributed system because a set of workers can train the local models. Here, worker is nothing but a
आप अपने ओरिजिनल वर्क पे जाइए लोकेंद्र.
Yes, sir.
सीधे काम पे जाइए.
Okay, sir. So some of the literature review which I have studied, some of the papers are that. I find out the various kinds of algorithm earlier authors use. The lack of the system, like they suffer the problem of large data set. They work well on a small data set, but whenever a large data set is there, their algorithms are lacking in some manners. So we have used a system architecture. We have a parameter servers, and there are so many workers, worker 1, worker M, and so there are so many workers. So workers collect the data from the sensors and they provide their feedback to the parameter servers or central server. Central server perform the central server takes the data from the workers and perform the main algorithm or using the various kinds of algorithms or model for tolerating the faults. So this is the some resilient model, fault tolerant model. Basically, the name of this model is FLODL, means federated learning over
सबसे
deep
पहले
learning.
फ्रेमवर्क बताइए, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय फ्रेमवर्क, और दूसरे नंबर पे बताइए इंटेंसिव डेटा कंप्यूटिंग का क्या मतलब है. ये दोनों के मीनिंग बताइए पहले.
Okay. Sir, actually, the distributed system works on a large data set, or basically it's work on data. Basically, it works on data. So the
What do you mean by framework?
Frameworks is a general model in which it is basically a structure on which we implement the model. So data intensive task, basically distributed system work on a large amount of data. So it is a data intensive task. The most of the algorithm like regression analysis or decision algorithm or random forest, all these kinds of algorithm basically works on data. That's why it is a data intensive tasks. So this is the general framework. different nodes are there, and they collect the data, and they use the data there in their own data sets or on their own local machines. And after the collecting or storing the data, the whole data is restored in central.
You are saying distributed system.
Yeah, sir, basically.
And on the same time, you are saying regression analysis.
So basically, in distributed
and
system,
other methods you are saying.
Yeah.
Then you have distributed regression analysis.
So basically, I'm doing my work in a classification, multivariate classifications
Of
various parameters of fault tolerance, basically occurred in disk failure.
How will you define fault?
Fault is nothing but a failure of a system. Means any kind of failure, like it can be disk failure, it can be a software failure, it can be some kind of hardware failure also.
No. Is that system failure or a component failure?
So there are various categories of the faults, but I'm dealing the only one kind of fault, that is the disk failure.
Disk failure.
Yeah.
In distributed system.
Yeah, in distributed system, and most of the data.
What model you are using? Shared memory model?
So basically, I'm using the classification model here.
नहीं. आप कौन सा मॉडल यूज कर रहे हैं?
सर बेसिकली जो एल्गोरिथम है, मॉडल है, वो क्लासिफिकेशंस का है और
नहीं. आप भाई डिस्क फेल्यूर आप कह रहे हो तो ग्लोबल मेमोरी मॉडल है या कि शेयर्ड मेमोरी है?
सर ग्लोबल भी है, ग्लोबल सेंट्रल सर्वर पर है, और शेयर्ड सर लोकल सिस्टम पर।
नहीं, गलत बता रहे हैं आप। कंप्लीट मॉडल बताओ किस पे है? शेयर्ड मेमोरी मॉडल यूज कर रहे हो आप?
या सर, बेसिकली शेयर्ड मेमोरी मॉडल।
शेयर्ड मेमोरी मॉडल यूज कर रहे हो, और ग्लोबल डिस्क है कि शेयर्ड डिस्क है?
सर ग्लोबल डिस्क है, क्योंकि बेसिकली डेटा स्टोर्ड इन डेटा सेंटर्स।
ग्लोबल डिस्क है फॉर बैकअप। फॉर बैकअप,
यस।
मेथड क्या है?
मेथड यूज करो सर, क्लासिफिकेशन करेंगे हम उसमें। अलग अलग पैरामीटर्स हैं जो कि डिस्क में लगे हुए हैं, सेंसर सिस्टम्स।
गड़बड़ बता रहे हो। क्लासिफिकेशन मींस
so there are various kinds of sensors attached in the disk, attached in data centers, and they provide the different values for parameters, and after collecting these parameter value
can you example one parameter?
Sir, like a disk temperature, bed sectors, etc. A temperature is one of the most failure kind of problem occurred in data centers, disk temperature. And bed sector is also there, spindle time is there, seek time is there. There are so many parameters. Basically, it is used as a about 8 parameters that I
आपने
mentioned.
फिर अब एक गलत वर्ड यूज किया है आप। यू आर सेइंग डिस्क ऑन ए डेटा सेंटर, तो ग्लोबल कहाँ हुआ? फिर तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड हो गया।
So actually, the overall data set is stored in a data centers, and that is available for publicly available for.
नहीं, अब आप मॉडिफाई कर लो। पूरी तरह से शेयर्ड मेमोरी मॉडल है, चाहे वो ग्लोबल सेकेंडरी मेमोरी हो, चाहे प्राइमरी मेमोरी है। पूरी तरह से शेयर्ड मेमोरी मॉडल है। बार बार ये ग्लोबल और उसको मत कंफ्यूज करिए।
Okay. So we can go ahead for shared memory model. So there is a proposed methods. It is some kind of algorithm or methodology which I used. Fault resilient model. Here some parameters are there, and we using the loop, and here we using the loss function for calculating the loss, and again we have to calculate the gradients of various parameters. Actually, we are using the gradient in the sense there are so many variates or so many variables is there, so we calculate the gradient, means partial derivative we have to choose. That's
what do you mean by gradient of parameters?
So, actually, sir, we are using a function, and that function means that function uses the various kind of variables.
What function you are using? Tell me one name of function.
Sir, that is a loss function, which may be the ReLU function, or it may be some regression function also there.
अच्छा, तो ये आप प्रोग्रामिंग में यूज करोगे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सिस्टम्स की?
Yes sir, distributed system में प्रोग्रामिंग में यूज करें।
तो कौन सा डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सिस्टम की प्रोग्रामिंग के लिए कौन सा मॉडल यूज कर रहे हो?
Sir, I'm using the Keras model and perform the whole operation on Google Colab because local machine is not capable to store the large amount of data set, and there is this major problem of processing the data, large data. Like we have to use the GPU.
अच्छा, पॉलीलॉग क्या होता है और पॉलिनोमियल नंबर ऑफ प्रोसेसर्स क्या होता है?
Sorry sir,
क्योंकि जब तक ये यूज नहीं करोगे तो फंक्शन कैसे बनेगा?
Okay.
ये फंक्शन बनाने के लिए यूज करना पड़ेगा, आप नोट करिए अपनी कॉपी में।
Yeah. Polynomial function.
Polylogarithmic time using polynomial number of processors.
Okay.
है ना?
Yes.
है ना, इसको यूज करिए।
Yes.
और आगे बढ़िए।
Yes sir. So experimental setup is that I'm using the Python and R language. Basically, Python is using for data processing or data loading, whatever, and R language is used basically for visualizations. And
अब यहाँ आपने एक confusion फिर create किया कि you are using distributed system, you are saying that I will use Python.
Sir, for model building, I'm using the Python.
Which Python? Distributed Python or simple Python?
Sir, simple Python. I'm using the Keras model, which is a functional model, which is fully supported by Python. Keras model.
अच्छा.
Yes.
ठीक.
The setup is work on Anaconda and Google Colab. We are using the Google Colab because of there is a lack of shortage in local machines like CPU, slow of CPU, and there is no GPU in local machine, and it may be a very slow. But in compared to Google Colab, we can use the large amount of various kinds of hardware we can use freely. And Keras and TensorFlow model is used for building the model. Basically, whenever we work on the machine, there are various kinds of data set we are using, and most of the time for a distributed system, we have to collect the data sets. So data sets are the ingredient to train, test, and validate the model for deep learning. Disk failure is very common kind of failure in traditional computing system.
Failure में AI की टेक्निक कैसे यूज करेंगे?
Sir, actually, we collect the various kinds of data, and there are some data set is there, like a backblaze hard drive failure that is available, publicly available data set. So we perform the what you call deep learning approach, that is a distributed manner, and after training the data set, we can use the predictions. So based on the
कौन सी
prediction,
मेथड यूज करेंगे डीप लर्निंग में?
sir, we are using the CNN also and random forest.
बस यही मैं आपसे डिसएग्री करता हूँ, आप अपनी मेथड क्यों नहीं बनाओगे?
So we can create, but there is already available method that is we can use directly in the system, and we have a different kinds
What
of
do
data.
you mean by learning?
Learning is nothing but providing the initial data set to train the model.
अच्छा. और डीप लर्निंग?
So deep learning is nothing but whenever we apply the machine learning in a huge amount of data, that is a deep learning. And
What is important in machine learning?
So machine learning works on a simple computational machinery, but deep learning use the multiple nodes or multiple computational units.
What is transition in machines?
Transition in machine learning.
What do you mean by transition?
Actually, transition is departure from one state to another state is a transition.
How will you define a state?
State, whenever we have a data set, and if there is a initial data, so we have to train. So at the train, it
How
is a
will you
state.
define a state?
State is a suppose we have a data set, and if there is a no training, then it is a non-training state. Then we perform the training, then machine have learned something, then it can go to another state. and after that we perform the predictions on unseen data. So that is another state of the machine.
If there is a failure, then what will be the position of state?
Sir, if failure is there, so machine provide the predictions that we can take up precautions for example, suppose there is an indication is that their temperature is going higher, or this kind of drive is going to dead in certain time of period, then we can replace the drive. So there is a predictions is there.
What mathematical logic method you will use in deep learning and other things?
Sir, there is a CNN, a convolutional neural network. This is a already inbuilt model that we can use in our data set.
Very good, Lokendra. Very good. Very good, Lokendra.
Yes.
Lokendra sir.
Yes, sir.
How will you use CNN for this work? Because CNN is a model that is being used for images,
yes,
and
sir.
that has been created with images in mind, all because
Yes.
of the convolutional part over there. As far as your data is concerned, your data is not image in nature.
Yeah. Sir,
So
initially,
how are you saying that CNN can be used for this purpose?
sir, we are not fixed to CNN. We are using the another model also, like a classification, regression, and random forest. Because this kind of
So in that case, it is not your deep neural networks model.
sir, basically, it is a deep neural network model because this is taking the huge amount of data sets from the.
It's not on the, sir, it is not based on the data set. It is actually based on the number of layers that we have in our artificial neural network.
Yeah.
So based on the number of layers that we have and their functions,
yes.
we decide upon whether the network is a simple artificial ANN or it's a DNN.
It's a DNN.
Okay, so your DNN may contain 50 layers, more than 100 layers.
Yes.
All those things are possible nowadays.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, why are you calling it DNN? Why are you trying to use DNN in this case?
Sir, I reviewed the paper, and most of the paper says that the deep learning is whenever we're using the huge amount of data set, so it is a kind of a deep learning. And there is a multiple nodes, computing node is there, then it is known as a deep learning. So that's why I relate this name to deep learning. And I learned.
Can you get back to your framework once again? Please go
Yes.
back to your framework. Yeah, that diagram only.
Yeah, sir.
2 or 3 slides further. Next slide, please. Next.
This one.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
What is this deep neural networks over here that you are showing in between 2 different nodes?
So these are the nodes at the edge devices. So here we perform the training on local data set, which is a confidential.
Where will you be deploying these neural networks or these models, these weights?
Sir, at each and every layer we have a computational node. So here we apply the deep neural network model. Means at node 1.
What is the purpose? What is the purpose of this work actually? When you say that you are trying to find out how good is your disk, it's all about finding out the goodness of your disk, or finding out the I should say the probability of the failure of your disk.
Sir, actually, there are different data centers is there, so we can't work out on since the data set is also already distributed among the globe. So we have to go to a particular data center that we call a node. So that's why we have to perform the local training on local data centers. That's why we have to take on different nodes for performing the local training on the data centers.
So your work is right now restricted to machine learning, and it is not deep neural networks.
Yes, basically machine learning. Yes.
So can you please show us your results on the various machine learning methods that you have applied here?
Yeah, I'm going to the next slide so that I can first explain the data set which we are using to implement the model.
Please directly go to the results. Okay.
Yes. So actually, this is the data set which we are using. Actually, this data set contains the data set provided by the Backblaze. It contains thousands of variates, but we are using the only 8 out of these. So this is the basic data set or basic variates which we are mentioned in our paper. So the name of these parameters.
Kindly go to the results. Kindly go to the results section directly.
Okay. Sir, I not mentioned the results. Basically, I work on a model of this data set because this is the data pre-processing stage I am right now.
It is unfortunate that the results
Yeah.
are absent from the slides.
Yeah. This is like
Okay, Lokendra ji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Any
Thank.
query? Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, so this was the last presentation for this session. And thank you all the participants for the wonderful presentation. Now, I would like to request session chairs to share their experiences with our participants. And in this continuation, I would like to call Dr. Rakesh Kumar Katare sir to share few words with us. Dr. Rakesh Kumar Katare sir, please.
थैंक यू विनय जी।
जी सर।
प्रेजेंटेशंस मैंने देखे और मैंने अपने कमेंट्स भी दिए प्रेजेंटेशन के दौरान। ओरिजिनलिटी मुझे प्रेजेंटेशंस में काफ़ी कम दिखी है और एक्चुअली ओरिजिनलिटी होना चाहिए प्रेजेंटेशंस में। हमको क्या है, नकल नहीं करना चाहिए, हमको अपने थॉट्स रखना चाहिए, अपना वर्क करना चाहिए। एक भी बच्चे ने या प्रेजेंटर ने, किसी ने भी अपनी ओरिजिनल वर्क को शो नहीं किया है। सब या तो कोई पुरानी मेथड है या कोई मॉडल है, उस पर बेस्ड इन्होंने प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है और रिजल्ट्स पे भी बहुत काम नहीं किया इन्होंने कि रिजल्ट्स पे कुछ अच्छा सा कंक्लूजन निकालें, तो वो भी कर नहीं पाए हैं। और चूंकि बीई के भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं शायद और कुछ हैं, तो इतना बच्चे के साथ हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं बीई के स्टूडेंट के साथ में। टीचर्स जो प्रेजेंट हुए हैं उन्होंने कुछ काम किया जरूर है, लेकिन ओरिजिनलिटी के मामले में, और एक्चुअली जब भी आप कोई काम करते हो तो आपको फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस का ध्यान रखना चाहिए। यदि आप फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस के हिसाब से काम करोगे तो आप काम अच्छा कर पाओगे। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस पे एक लेक्चर होना चाहिए, एक लेक्चर नहीं होना चाहिए, एक कोर्स होना चाहिए फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस पे, और पहले हम ये सिखाएं कि रिसर्च कैसे की जाती है, तब शायद कुछ ओरिजिनलिटी आएगी वर्क में। यहाँ किसी ने भी अपने बेसिक एजम्पशंस को शो नहीं किया है, ओरिजिनल एजम्पशन को। ये कुछ कंफ्यूज्ड थे रिसर्च में, और जब एजम्पशंस बताएं प्रॉपर तरीके से और बेसिस ऑफ एजम्पशन बताएंगे तब ये मेथड डेवलप हो सकती है, अदरवाइज ओरिजिनलिटी नहीं आ पाएगी। और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एक दो बच्चों ने तो कुछ थोड़ा सा ओरिजिनलिटी दिखाई है, लेकिन ओवरऑल परफॉर्मेंस में इम्प्रूवमेंट की ज़रूरत है। और ऐसा लगता है कि जो गाइड है या हम जैसे जो लोग हैं वो ये बताएं कि कैसे रिसर्च करना चाहिए, कैसे ओरिजिनलिटी रिसर्च में लाई जाती है, कैसे फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस वर्क करती है, और फिलॉसफी ऑफ साइंस की लिमिटेशंस क्या हैं। कंप्यूटर साइंस में जब भी आप कोई काम करते हो तो डेटा सेट की ये बात करते हैं। यदि डेटा सेट की बात करेंगे तो स्ट्रक्चरल रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन डेटा आइटम्स की बात करना पड़ती है, उसी से फंक्शंस बनते हैं, है ना। जब फंक्शंस तैयार होते हैं तो उससे एल्गोरिथम तैयार होता है, उस एल्गोरिथम का रिजल्ट ये बताता है कि हमने जो फंक्शनैलिटी निकाली है वो कितनी लिमिट तक, कितनी दूर तक ठीक है। तो स्ट्रक्चरल रिलेशनशिप की बात हम नहीं कर रहे हैं, है ना। और जब स्ट्रक्चरल रिलेशनशिप की हम बात करेंगे तब चीज़ें सामने आएंगी। अदरवाइज स्ट्रक्चरल रिलेशनशिप की बात, पहले तो स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, स्ट्रक्चर में क्या क्या चीज़ें होती हैं, और डेटा सेट स्ट्रक्चर कैसे बनता है ना, और ये सब इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कैसे होता है ना, ये सारी चीज़ें डिपेंड करती हैं। कुछ लोगों ने डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सिस्टम की बात करी है, कुछ लोगों ने आर्किटेक्चर की बात नहीं करी है। उन्होंने बेसिक प्रॉब्लम्स जो सोसाइटी में अवेलेबल है उसकी बात करी है। तो जिन्होंने सोसाइटी में जो प्रॉब्लम्स है उनकी बात करी है, वो ये शो नहीं कर पाए हैं कि आर्किटेक्चरल डिजाइन कैसी होगी, आर्किटेक्चर पे कैसे काम करेंगे, और आर्किटेक्चर और लोकल प्रॉब्लम में क्या रिलेशनशिप है, ये बताना आवश्यक था। तो वो नहीं बता पाए हैं। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में 1 से 2 लेक्चर ऐसे आप रखिए कि हाउ यू कैन परस्यू रिसर्च, इस पे एक बहुत जरूरी है। और मेरे साथ मेरे जो कलीग हैं, आई एम वेरी वेरी थैंकफुल टू हिम कि उन्होंने मुझे सोचने का भी बहुत मौका दिया है, और उन्होंने जो क्वेश्चन किए हैं रियली वेरी गुड। आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू हिम कि आपने मुझे सोचने का मौका दिया और मैंने उस हिसाब से अपने क्वेश्चंस को पुट अप किया है। तो आपका एक ग्रेट सपोर्ट था मुझे इस जजमेंट में। आई एम थैंकफुल टू यू एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful suggestions for our participants. Now, I request to Dr. Ashish Kumar Gupta, sir, for their experience to share with our participants.
Yeah, Lokesh, please discontinue your slides, first of all.
Share one copy.
Yeah, please. I'm very thankful to Dr. Katare for his kind words. And it was very nice to share the same platform. At the same time, he has raised many points that are very relevant to this particular conference and for any conference in general. At the same time, as far as my experience is concerned, I have just experienced that most of the researchers are in the initial phase of their research life. Okay, so most of them are students and some of them are also faculty members, and we all are in the learning phase. Perfectly no problem. What I find is, I agree with sir that in almost all the cases, novelty is missing, but still several researchers have paid attention to some novel research directions. So that is going to be a good thing as far as their future is concerned. I must say that literature survey section of each paper was quite weak. So literature section was not as good as it was expected. It is always expected that it should be presented in a very concise manner and should be highly informative. So that is one thing that each of you should keep in your mind at the time of presentation. I saw that presentations were quite lengthy. Okay, complete stanzas were written over there. So such practices are not good, as you know that everything should be presented in points considering the time limit. I must say that each point that you put in your slide, you should know about the same, because questions may be asked from any corner. So while preparing your slide, always try to put only those things in your slides in which you are good at. Rest is what Dr. Katare has already covered, so I will not repeat any one of those points. It was a nice session, and I congratulate all the participants for their work, and I must extend my best wishes for their future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable suggestions for our participants. And now, मैं सेशन चेयर्स की परमिशन से इस सेशन को टर्मिनेट करने की अनुमति चाहता हूं। सर,
थैंक यू प्लीज टर्मिनेट द सेशन। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
ओके सर, थैंक यू फॉर योर वैल्यूएबल टाइम।
थैंक यू पार्टिसिपेंट्स एंड सेशन चेयर्स।
अखिलेश जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
आपने मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी दी अपने कुछ बात रखने के लिए, है ना?
ये हमारे लिए भी अपॉर्चुनिटी थी सर कि हम आपको
और सर को भी आप धन्यवाद दीजिए, जिनको मैं सर के डिटेल्स चाहूंगा। और मैं समझता हूं कि हम आप अखिलेश जी सर को कनेक्ट करके हमारी एक बार अच्छे से बात करा दीजिएगा कॉन्फ्रेंस से बाहर।
जी सर,
तो सर की डिटेल्स मुझे चाहिए,
बिल्कुल सर, हम
है
फिर
ना,
मिलने वाले
है
हैं।
ना,
यस,
हाँ, है ना, ठीक है। थैंक यू वेरी मच,
थैंक यू
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।